Golf can be a fun game to play, though anime has made it pretty fun to watch too. Today marks the release of the Season 2 finale for Birdie, a series all about young women taking golf way too seriously. From viewing golf matches as shown in battles, to the mafia solving property disputes in an underground illegal golf course generator. The Switch just got its own game based on the franchise that looked really good and interesting. But for only $20, how is it? Here is my review of Birdie Girls Golf Story for the Nintendo Switch. When it comes to story, this is the same plot as the anime series. Well, sort of. Birdie is about Evangeline, a young woman that wins bets on illegal underground golf games that becomes involved in the mafia and friendly rivals with Japanese golfer Aoi. The story is all about their intense rivalry and a world that treats golf as seriously as the Yu-Gi-Oh world treats a children's card game. Now, it's a great story, but this game's adaptation is a bit lacking. First of all, the game currently only covers the anime's first 3 episodes, not even making it past even Aoi's first rematch in the U15 Women's World Championship. And the representation of the story isn't the best either. The game has no voice acting, and the script shown to summarize anime events is filled with grammar mistakes. It feels kind of like the old English Asia Sword Art Online games that I imported from Japan on the Vita before they were properly translated. When it comes to gameplay, this is a golfing sports game with visual novel elements. As you play, you'll be going through little VN scenes and playing normal and putt-putt golf as you progress. Now, with game modes, you have 2 options. We have story that has little plot scenes and missions to have you golfing throughout the anime's first 3 episodes, and free mode where you can do custom matches with the CPU or local players on the couch and use control styles for physical buttons or motion with the Joy-Cons. Now let's start with story mode, which, just FYI, you cannot use motion controls in. You have to use physical buttons for the story. Anyways, this is a 6-stage mode where you play out a bit of Birdie plotline. Each stage has little story scenes and you must play a certain number of holes to match or exceed your opponent's score to pass and unlock the next stage. Now let's get to the fun part, the actual golfing. You have different clubs to cycle through, can adjust power to your shots, move around where you're aiming, and wind plays a factor in how each shot moves after the ball is hit. It's got the bare minimum, but the basics of what a golf game needs, though it doesn't include more advanced options like spin. It has a little bit of birdie wing in the system too. You have a meter going left and right for the power of each shot, and you want to fire off in the white area for a quote-unquote perfect shot. This is fairly simple for a golfing mechanic, though the concentration feature goes along with it. This lets you increase your concentration as the match goes by, making that perfect mark bigger and easier to hit. And occasionally you can get fun little extra animations for the anime's trademark over-the-top shots. While you don't see the absurd, crazy bullet gun animations that you see in the anime, you do get to see Eve mentioning her different bullet shots, especially her driving blue bullet. Now, what here is pretty decent, at least until you reach the green. Doing drive iron and wedge shots works surprisingly well. While wind can sometimes be a little inconsistent between what it says is the direction of wind and what actually happens, it's pretty competent and fun to watch your shots fly across the course. But putting in this game is just something else. The game builds putting around not only wind getting in your way, but every green is filled with uphills and downhills to make it so you have to adjust and strategize on how to get a straight shot into the hole. This is an interesting mechanic, or at least would be if it worked properly. The problem here isn't the terrain's hills, but the fact that things are very inconsistent on how things actually play out when you putt. It's sometimes hard to see even from the trajectory preview what the terrain is actually doing, and when it does, the ball will sometimes go where the environment is laid out, and sometimes it won't. See a downhill to the right and high wind to the right, so you aim a little to the left and the ball goes in a straight line. Or it'll veer off to the left in an aggressive curve. It's so inconsistent even with good wind and angle that it's sometimes up to RNG on whether your putt actually works. It also doesn't help that the power meter's indicator will also sometimes mess up. You have little icons for how far away the hole is, and I've had dozens of putts where I was less than 2 feet away from the hole, and the ball doesn't make it there, or almost does and randomly just veers off to the side, requiring me to use significantly more power in a shot that should travel all the way across the green just to travel 20 inches into the hole properly. Now the putting can work, and it can work well. If you go into the putt-putt courses in free mode where there are no hills, it's fine. There's something about that weird terrain on the main golf courses that seem to be causing these weird inconsistencies. But this is an anime game. Is there anything here that really showcases this being a birdie wing game? Not really. You do have the random little animations that can pop up for the bullets, and there is a little nod in the fact that Aoi can use slice shots in the story mode and Eve can't, since if you watch the anime, she doesn't learn how to do that until much later in the show. But it's really just a basic golf game that has birdie wing characters in it. You can't use any of the crazy brute force strategies that Eve uses in the show, because if you do, you're just gonna mess up. And that's all I got for story mode. You just go through the stages and unlock the next. You don't unlock any special features or characters or anything. You just go through it to go through it. So let's move on. Free mode is just as it sounds. You can make custom matches, choosing either the traditional golf that features 6 playable characters, Eve, Aoi, Helene, and CC, with the other 2 being variants of Aoi and Eve. You have 18 different holes on the U15 course, or the putt-putt golf mode that offers 5 little trick holes where you have to get the ball into the hole in a single shot, a reference to the little rigged underground putt-putt game showcased in the show. And things are different here. You have more options with golfing. You can play with button controls or swing the Joy-Cons to swing the club and take your shots. And I will say that these motion controls are extremely easy to use. Once you know how to hold the Joy-Con, it's pretty easy to make great shots, and the sensitivity settings that can be tweaked make it even simpler. But you also have an extra option for proper golfing. As I mentioned before, Eve could not use slice or curve shots during the story mode, but anyone can in free mode. Now, what do we think about this in terms of content and length? Honestly, it's not that great. The game only costs $20, sure, but the story mode only covering 3 episodes of a 26 episode show, only a handful of playable characters, a single golf course, it's really not that much to dive through. In fact, I'd beaten the entire story mode and gone through free mode quite a few times in less than 2 hours. Now, on the bright side, the developers promised free updates and DLC in the future to give us more story missions, characters, and game modes. The first of which will include a sudden death mode, likely to coincide with Eve's match with a certain crazy snake lady that doesn't like being called Snake Lady. Next up is presentation. I think the game looks fine. The models look decent and the environments are okay. It has some good looking animations for all the hole scoring, like Aoi waving when she gets a par or Eve's exaggerated frustration when she gets a bogey. And with performance, it's mostly good. There are frame drops in a few of the holes on the U15 course, especially during animations. But considering most of it is during animations, it doesn't cause a huge problem with gameplay. Next up in battery life, which isn't super great either. The original and light models get about 2 to 2.5 hours out of Birdie Wing, and the V2 and OLED models get 4.5 to 5 hours. Now in conclusion, Birdie Wing comes to the Switch to bring fans of the series its first console game. While it does match the show's aesthetic and has some decent golfing mechanics, it's brought down by a lot. Translation, lack of voice acting, inconsistent putting and environment mechanics, not even going past episode 3 of the show, and all around feeling more like a basic golf game that has Birdie Wing characters in it than a true recreation of the anime in game form. Free updates and DLC is nice to look forward to, and it isn't a terrible golfing game, but it's got serious work to do to become a worthy adaptation. Birdie Wing is an excellent anime that anyone into golf should check out, and deserves a great game adaptation. But for now, Reviews to Go rates Birdie Wing for the Nintendo Switch a 5 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.